match the floor elevation on the basement area at the lower level with what's down there. In order to do that, you get the first floor to be fairly close to what's there now. Actually, we're going to be about 8 inches higher. Is this construction is on the first floor first. The construction is the concrete walls, block bearing walls inside where the cells are, and we're going to use 8-inch precast plank because we can get a thinner sandwich to give us the room for the mechanicals. The cells require a lot of mechanicals. The first floor to the second floor, I believe we had, I haven't got those numbers here, but I think it's 12'4" or 13'4" floor to floor, if I remember correctly.
13'4".
I'm sorry, here it is, yeah. It's 13'4". And that was for 10-foot ceilings because of the size of the rooms on the first floor. So it's 3'4", plus we need 18 inches for bar joists and slab for the upper floor, plus space for ductwork, piping. We have layers, you have HVAC ductwork, we have sprinklers, we have regular plumbing, so they all got to clear each other, plus clear the structure, and then also allow 6 inches for the ceiling system.
Okay.
And then the upper level, what we tried to do there was put a knee wall in at 6'8", which even though 5 feet's the minimum, we wanted 6'8" because some of the desks line up along the edge. We didn't want someone standing up and like you or I, who are taller, putting our heads into the ceiling.
Right.
So we got the volume of space, we're taking advantage of the volume instead of just voiding it out.
Okay.
So that's how we squashed the building down. So it's kind of hard to show. I mean, the best example I can give you is if you went over to the existing fire station, which I believe is only 9 feet floor to floor,
Yeah.
and they have a 8-foot ceiling in there. They have no mechanical equipment in that building. So
Yeah.
today it's a different scenario. We had to provide for mechanicals, unfortunately. And
All right.
also that's a different kind of construction.
Yeah.
So it's what we're trying to do to make it the building economical and get the most out of it at the same time. If that answers your question, but that's why it's the way it is.
That's all right.
Thank you very much.
Anything else from anyone? At this point, I think if we want, we can certainly take we've done this before and I come up with a new word every time, a general preference, a consensus of the board, whatever we want to talk about. Obviously, we don't have everything done. We don't have the paperwork that we would need to get in, so it wouldn't be a formal approval.
Speaking of which, we need that form.
The Community Planning Commission is where you can get that, Ken.
I went down to get that.
Yeah.
I came into town hall one day to get
Yeah.
zoning and everything. They told me I had to see a representative of the Historic Commission to get the form. That's what I was
That's
told.
never been true in the past. I can certainly print one up for you,
Was
but
it the secretary that told you that?
There were
Or did
3
Mr.
different secretaries gave me the same answer.
No, speak to Mr. Rogers, call Mr. Rogers,
Dr. Bob Rogers.
Mr. Rogers?
Bob Rogers.
Alan, if you
Okay.
can't get it, feel free to call me, but that is the way the process is supposed to work.
Okay, 'cause I went to that office first,
Okay?
down by the end of the hall, the last hall.
Yeah.
I don't know who
Yes.
secretary
Last on the
is.
left.
Yeah,
She sent me back up, in fact, there was a gentleman in the office too, they sent me back up to, I'll call it the bullpen for lack of the right phrase, where there's about 5 or 6 departments,
Oh,
the secretarial area.
No.
And then they said I had to see someone in HTC to get the form.
If in the next couple days you can't get it from Mr. Rogers, just call me directly.
Okay.
I believe his number is 60502.
It is, yes.
6050?
60502.
Okay.
You're gonna get 1 of 3 secretaries, but you ask for Bob and
Okay.
he'll get it right away.
Okay.
Thanks.
I will do that.
How do we want to proceed?
Will they ask us to approve the,
It's my understanding, Ken, correct me if I'm wrong, that you're asking for a general consensus, yea or nay, on FEB? Do I understand you correctly?
That's correct.
Are we prepared to try and see if we reach such a consensus?
We would have to know in our presentation Monday evening.
Okay. What I think I'd like to do is very similar to what we did with the situation year and a half ago-ish, when we were doing a consensus on the bachelor proposal that we had at the time, is just go around and have everyone say whether they have a preference in favor or against, with the understanding, and hopefully you will ask us as well at town meeting to get up when you do, that this is not a binding vote because there's a lot of paperwork and other processes and things may still change, but at least get a general feeling so the town knows where we're likely to go. Is that fair?
What is in the paperwork that could be changing what you know now?
Well, first of all, Mr. Lieb, you tell me, is this set in stone? Is there anything that on the site or on the design or once, have you done full, is this the entire design work that's going to happen?
We've done all the elevation studies. We've done the floor plans, have all been updated with the shrunken, that 10% reduction,
Mhm.
that's all been done. The windows we've changed to meet, if you want to change it from 12 panes to 10 panes.
Yeah, that's noise. That's noise.
That we can deal with later. That's a 1, 2, 3. But as far as the window configuration, the sizes, it's pretty well set, unless you have a problem with it. And we've tried to replicate what we saw around the common of the buildings. That's what we're trying to do, is blend this into what's happening there. The window sizes are pretty much the same as what's on the existing fire station. It's just the way we've drawn the trims a little different. The fire station windows you see on the sketch is from scanning the old drawings in, and it's just, until we get to an actual detailed drawing, we're not gonna replicate the whole thing, obviously. It's just
Joe,
design part G.
as our resident architect, do you feel that there's enough data here to formally vote on a proposal or not?
I would say, considering changes to the windows, considering a little bit of a change at the entrance, the door and the side lights, to be more typical colonial. And my feeling is still an elevator shaft should be as forward as it is to accentuate so much frontage.
But with all due respect,
But
we
other
could
than
vote pending minor changes to the windows.
Right.
We can't vote pending a change to the elevator
No.
shaft. It's either there or it's not.
It's either there or it's not. So, and if nobody else objects, then I let it stand. As it would be.
Any objections to actually taking a vote?
On what? On which plan you prefer?
No, actually, I believe that FEB is the plan brought to us, if I understand the situation correctly.
Oh, no, FEA.
A? Sorry.
No.
Is it A or B? I'm sorry.
Big is the one
I
that-
think it was B.
FEA.
Committee is B.
B?
Yes.
B. Just wanted to make B.
Like in board.
No.
The confusion is at this table, I just want to make sure. Okay, so the vote, if taken, would be on FEB and FEB only, with the only,
FEB is the
that
same,
is,
except for...
fine, we'll get there in a moment, but that is I just want everyone to understand that that is the proposal in front of us. They've not, we have 4 papers in front of us, but we have one proposal, yes.
Mr. Chairman, FEA and FEB are identical. The only thing that is different is the size of the side lights. And the doorway, that's it. So if you take out the door and the side lights, and we've already accepted the fact that we're all gonna work on that as we go down the line, they're both the same scheme. The only difference between the two was one had wide side lights, one had narrow side lights. And that was a request of your board.
So why don't we say no on B and yes on A?
Does the Police Station Building Committee
Change?
have any problem with us voting on FEA rather than FEB? No one does.
Exactly.
Then we're going to vote on FEA, Tom. Does that make you a little happy?
Very happy.
Okay.
Exceedingly.
Yes, please.
We're going to vote on FEA. Does this presume that we are voting to approve the building?
That would seem to be the process.
In this building in place?
We either approve or disapprove it. That's my understanding.
And we don't have the papers filled out or anything else. How can we vote on it?
That's a good point.
We're voting on a preliminary design for a proposed building, as opposed to something that we'll have to vote formally on a later design at a later date.
Well, that's what I thought we were doing, and then a couple people seem to be trying to move it more towards the fact of a formal vote. I'm actually much more comfortable. I'm actually much more comfortable with what Ms. Romeo said about voting a general yay or nay flavor
As
on
we
this
did-
proposal.
As we did with the school.
Oh, Mr. Murphy, I'm sorry.
No,
Didn't
that's
see you.
okay. If I may, and I don't understand your entire charter. I get a lot of other boards and commissions I'm trying to understand better. But I think it's important, from my perspective, that we go to town meeting with knowledge that the Historic District Commission will approve this project. I think to do anything less than that is to the detriment of the community and potentially a waste of town meeting's time on Monday evening. Because I'm just telling you, as someone sitting here listening tonight, and I understand that, you know, there's a difference between your charter and what you're doing as commission members and you know, individual preferences for projects, but we can't go to town meeting and walk out of town meeting with, well, they might approve it, they might not approve it, most of them don't like it, it may not go through, or maybe we should be doing the other site. But, you know, I think it's important for your vote to be very clear this evening that this project can go forward. If as I heard, and maybe I don't know what, you know, maybe I don't know all your policies.
And that's fine.
So, but what I heard tonight, sitting here, was that this building, its size and its scope, is inappropriate for this site. That's what I heard from what I perceive to be a majority of your commission, and that's fine. If that in some way, down the road, turns into a vote, then we should not be at town meeting on Monday night asking the voters for approval to move forward and to go to an override. And I think it is absolutely critical for this community to go forward on Monday night and know what we're doing or not doing. So if in size and in scope this project is not approvable to you, then I would ask you to vote that tonight, and we'll make a motion to pass over on Monday evening. If it can move forward, then I would ask you to do something tonight so that the people at town meeting know that the project can move forward. I really have this fear that we're going into this to a potential logjam, and Mr. Chairman, it is not to be critical of your board. I understand.
Nothing taken personally, not a problem.
You have a job to do, and you know, this committee's worked hard on this plan, on this site, based on the appropriations and the directions of town meeting, and based on the direction of the administration and the Board of Selectmen. And we need to know if we have a project that we can bring forward. The project we originally started with was at a certain budget figure. We found it not to be at that budget figure. We need to get more funding at town meeting. We can't get into a situation where, you know, it's unclear as to whether or not we're going to need to get even more funding, because we need to change designs or change this or change that. And so I sit here fearful.
Mr. Romeo?
Caution the committee.
John, the key to what you just said was this board needs to do something tonight. And yes, we can do something tonight, John, but we can't take a formal vote. The bylaw states that the project needs to be applied for, and we need to have public hearings. And we haven't done that, okay? But we could take an informal poll of the committee, and you can present that. That's something that we could do, but a formal vote, I really believe, would be illegal.
We can't, no.
Please.
That's fine, if I may, Mr. Chairman.
Of course.
Again, that's fine. Again, I don't pretend to understand all of your policies. I'm still learning some of mine. But it is important that consensus of opinion be clear so that it doesn't call into question. And if the consensus of opinion of the commission is to move forward with FEA, I would submit to you, Mr. Chairman, that having sat here, I would be confused as a resident of this community as to what is happening. Because what I heard was, in size, scope, etc., it's too much for that site. So I don't know, you know, again, that's just my own perspective on it.
That's fair. I believe, and we'll see when we get to the consensus decision, I believe that what you're seeing, frankly, is a split board. And to be honest, I don't know until we get there which way it's split. And so the fact that if someone from town were listening to